Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the 2019 Black History Month campaign, Icons, Rock Stars, and Innovators, presented to you from the Advertising Club of New York in partnership with my team, Mixed Company Podcast. And as you know, I'm the co-host and co-producer of Mixed Company, Kai Devereaux Lawson. And I am so fortunate and so lucky to be here with a rock star in her own right, Miss Kendra Clarke. Kendra, welcome to the show today. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh my God, you have like the whole rock star look with the shoulders cut out and everything. You knew where you were going to be today.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I like to think that a lot of the clothes I have basically look like I fell straight out of the 80s.
Amazing, amazing. Well, that's a good thing. So I'm excited to speak with you. So just so you know, we are discussing the golden era of Black advertising that we're earmarking from the late 1960s to the early 1990s. And with that, we just kind of want to get a sense from everyone we're speaking with, like, what are your thoughts on the period? So before we even get into that, I'd love to hear more about your journey from how you got started in the business to where you are today.
Definitely. So I came to advertising in a bit of a roundabout way, right? I managed to start college very young, so I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Oof.
Had no idea what actually even options were when you were approaching adulthood.
How
and maybe
young,
wanted,
if you don't mind?
14.
14.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
of rock stars
Totally
and innovators.
different story, but yeah.
Okay.
So I started college at 14. So I studied political science and fell in love with statistical analyses and this idea that I could quantify the world in various ways. And I, went from undergrad to grad school and did statistics work all along the way. And then I dropped out of a PhD program because I decided that I didn't want to be a college professor.
Okay.
And had no idea what I wanted to do. So
sounds like adulting if I ever heard it.
Right? No idea. So I wound up moving to New York shortly thereafter, and I had a recruiter call me up, and luckily, this was early in 2008. So I was able to land a job, but
right before the big recession.
Yeah, right before the recession.
Okay.
And basically, the recruiter was like, "You have all of the skills that we need for somebody who is, an analytics person or a data scientist. Have you ever thought about advertising and marketing?" And I was like,
nope.
Honestly, no. But I was like, but I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it's about because I love being able to quantify things and understand what that's telling me about how the world works in some way, shape, or form. And I've been doing it in various iterations and various versions ever since.
Got it. Well, that's amazing. And as you know, we are talking a lot about culture in this business. So I want to get an idea from you. Can you think of any innovations that may have come about in the golden era of Black advertising that we should be celebrating this Black History Month? Or rather, do you have any innovations that you think we should start to think about as we move forward with advertising in general?
Sure. I mean, I honestly, so a lot of my earliest work in data science was really around segmented and audience-based marketing. And honestly, I think a lot of that came out of what we talk about when we talk about multicultural marketing, right? We talk about the fact that not every message is going to be resonant with every human being and why, and it's given us a lens and a way in to understand things at so many different levels and for so many different reasons. And luckily, we've moved beyond what was at one point a relatively uncomplicated way of looking at things to something that's much more nuanced and much more intersectional. But I really do feel like the groundwork for that was laid by a ton of pioneers in that golden age.
Amazing. And speaking of pioneers, we still have quite a few agencies or multicultural agencies that have sustained with us thus far, specifically the Burrell Agency as well as Uniworld. Do you have any thoughts on why they've been able to last this long and have been able to be so impactful in the work we do today?
I mean, I'm super grateful that they continue to exist because it's not always easy.
Right.
Where multicultural marketing used to be a real discipline and a widespread discipline, it's kind of diminishing these days. And I think, in part because we live in an environment where there are very few independent agencies anymore. We are reigned by a few holding companies, and I do work for one of them. And so but within that environment, you understand that the homogenization
Right.
doesn't necessarily serve everyone. And quite honestly, like there continue to be so many places and reasons to really bring in people who understand things in a completely nuanced way that are really important.
I agree, 100% agree with that. Recognizing that you're coming up, I guess in my generation, if you will, of Black advertising, can you think of any moments or moments that you see that may happen in the near future that we should probably celebrate as Black history, if you will?
In the near future.
Or recent past.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, right? So, I mean, I think that I'm gonna roll this back, roll this back a little bit, right?
You want me
So
to
if I
ask
can
you?
think about if I can think about some of the earliest memories I have of like seeing Black folks in advertising in my own life, it was seeing Michael Jackson in Pepsi ads when I was a kid, right? And that still had the feeling of being kind of tokenized. And for a long time, growing up, a lot of what you saw were, the Pine Sol woman and other, things that may or may not evoke mammy imagery. Throwing that out there.
I mean, I caught it.
Yeah, right. So we've moved to a place that is just significantly more nuanced.
Got it.
And I think that, at least in my personal view, we're at a really interesting moment right now where we're talking about things like Afrofuturism, and we're talking about and the importance that being able to see yourself not just in the present and not just in history and in the past, but what does a weird, crazy sci-fi future look like with the presence of people of color, and so that's really exciting to me in general, and I, to be frank, have sometimes mixed feelings about the appropriation of things like Afropunk. And the widespread use of gifs of Black folks, which become at some point digital blackface, and everybody using "Yes, Queen," because we don't always talk about where that comes from, and we take so much from communities of color. We take so much from the ballroom community, historically, and we continue to, but being at a place right now in media and culture and advertising where we're seeing marginalized, like historically marginalized people centered is really cool. I mean, it's amazing.
Definitely. Well, I want to thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. I want to thank you for having this conversation with myself, my team, and the Advertising Club of New York. And we're looking forward to you all catching up on all of the content that we'll have for you coming shortly. Thank you so much, and thank you, Kendra.
Of course.